Hello, everyone. This is Philip Martin. I'm back after a week off, a much deserved, I will say myself, week off. God, the end of August is just the worst time for movies. It really is. It's just like we didn't even get a review of the top grossing movie of last week, The Invitation, because they didn't want to show it to us. So, it's just. This week looks pretty good. I mean, relatively, Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul might be a good movie. A minor good movie. And, The Good Boss looks pretty good. But it's just an underwhelming week, especially after the summer we experienced. And so, maybe to liven things up at the end of August, or actually 1st of September, I'm doing this back earlier in the week, in case you didn't realize that. So it's actually September 2nd, but I'm doing this back on Wednesday. So to kind of enliven that, maybe what we do need is this $3 movie ticket day, which you're doing tomorrow, Saturday. I think just about every theater is going to be doing it. I don't see any profit in not doing it when everybody else is doing it. I know Riverdale's doing it, and AMC's doing it, and Regal's doing it. The chains are pretty much on board. So I think that just about everybody's going to have these $3 tickets tomorrow, which is a cool idea. I mean, like I said, it's almost like a record store day for the movies. And how they're spinning this is as a thank you to you fans who actually came out after the pandemic this year. I mean, we had movies like Top Gun, Maverick, Minions, Rise and Gru, Doctor Strange, In the Multiverse, Jurassic World Domination. The domestic box office went all the way up to $3.3 billion by the end of last week. And that only trails 2019 scores by about 20%. But this is a big but, because there's been 30% fewer wide releases this year. So actually, if you look at the number of wide releases, they're actually ahead of 2019 pace, which is encouraging. It means that people are going back to the movies. At least the movies have sort of recovered from the pandemic. We're still, and we have a different sort of environment now. Some things are forever changed. I think the windows from the lag time from the time something debuts in theaters until the time it hits streaming services is going to be much, much quicker. DVDs seem to be becoming less and less relevant to me. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the way it seems to me. It's a different, time. But we've always had a different time. This stuff has always evolved. So we're in a different sort of environment now. We're going to try to adapt to it, and people aren't maybe not going to go to the movies as often as they did in the 1930s, 1940s, but they're still going to the movies. So that's good. And we've got a lot of stuff coming up this fall, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. I'll be right back. All right, I've turned off all my devices, so I will not be interrupted this time. I'm back. What I wanted to do was I wanted to go through some of the films that are opening this fall, just because the summer's over. And if things go well, I'll be going to Toronto next week. If things do not go well, I won't be. So, yeah, I don't know. It's up in the air right now. We're kind of waiting to see how airlines and everything work out. But anyway, the fall starts now. It's September. It's September 2nd. I mean, it's still summer, but, September 2nd. We're going to go with this being the fall. So I'll talk about what's opening next week. Barbarian. I know nothing about it except that it's about a woman who goes to Detroit and she checks into an Airbnb, and there's a guy already staying there. And she elects to continue to stay there anyway. So there we go. Pinocchio, which is coming out on, this is the Disney Plus one that's coming out. This is Robert Zemeckis. not Guillermo del Toro, whose Pinocchio is coming out on Netflix later in the year. This one has Tom Hanks as the voice of Geppetto, and you'll remember Robert Zemeckis. He's the Roger Rabbit guy. He's the Polar Express guy. He worked with Hanks on that. Yeah, expected to be a body capture animation sort of extravaganza. I haven't looked at it. I don't know. September 16th, The Woman King. That's Viola Davis. She's a warrior princess or queen in Africa in the 19th century. One I'm really looking forward to is Blonde, which is a Netflix film. Andrew Dominic, who did Chopper and the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, and killing him softly. I can't remember what it was. With Brad Pitt, both of those with Brad Pitt. I really like him. He's a very interesting director. I'm really looking forward to this film about Marilyn Monroe. We'll see how it goes. There's a Moon Age Daydream, a documentary about Bowie that's coming out on the 16th. God's Country is a Thandie Newton thriller. Pearl, A24, Ty West. It's a sequel to X, the slasher that came out, I guess, last year. Was it last year or earlier this year? Anyway, it's a sequel to it. It has Mia Goth in it. See How They Run, which is a whodunit set in the 50s with Sam Rockwell, Swarzy, Ronan, Adrian Brody. The Silent Twins, I don't know anything about that. It's set in Wales. It's twins from a black family who are sent to a psychiatric hospital. That's what it says. I don't know anything. Jasmine Blues is a Netflix film, which is directed by Tyler Perry, which may be a different direction for him. So I'm kind of going to check that out. The 23rd of September. Don't Worry, Darling. Olivia Wilde directs and co-stars in the psychological thriller with Florence Pugh and Harry Styles, and it's set in a closed-off, gated Palm Springs community. I'm really interested in that. Catherine called Birdie, which this is a Lena Dunham medieval comedy. I'm not sure. We'll see. It's Amazon Prime, I believe. I don't know if it's getting a theatrical release or not. There's a documentary, Sydney, which I just got a link to. That's about the late Sidney Poitier. It's produced by Oprah Winfrey. September 30th. This is another interesting one. Billy Eichner. He was in a show called Horrible People. I think that's what it was called. I really liked that. It's the first gay rom-com from a major studios. It's produced by Judd Apatow, directed by Nicholas Stoller. It should be interesting. I'm looking forward to that. Hocus Pocus 2, 29 years later. Bette Midler, Jessica Parker, and Kathy, and then Jimmy are resurrected, and who knows? It's a sequel. Smile, Parker Finn's directorial debut about a doctor's mind begins to turn on her after a patient's death. Okay, I don't know what that means. Emily Watson's in God's Creatures. That's another A24 release. That'll be interesting. She's covering for her son, who's been accused of sexual abuse. All right. October 7th, and this is when I just started hearing about. Todd Field comes back. The last film he directed was Little Children. And then he's directing Cate Blanchett as a world-renowned composer. It's called Tar, which is her last name. Amsterdam is David O. Russell, who hasn't been around for a while. It's a 1930s murder mystery with Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, and John David Washington. Triangle of Sadness. This is an interesting one. I think this is the Roland Ostland's Palme d'Or winner about a bunch of characters on a luxury cruise. It ends in disaster. He erases class distinctions, and I think Ostland's a very interesting director. I really like his work. I'm looking forward to that. Redeem Team is a Netflix documentary about the U.S. basketball team at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Okay. October 14th, moving on. Halloween Ends? Sure it does. It's David Gordon Green and Jamie Lee Curtis is back. Okay, we'll see if this really is the last one. Till. This is about the Emmett Till movie. It's about his mother's pursuit of justice. It might be interesting. It will be interesting if it's done well. Let's put it that way. We'll see how it's. Well, there's White Bird, a Wonder Story, which is a spinoff of Wonder, which was based on a 2019 graphic novel. I don't think Wonder did as well as they expected it to do. I don't think I even saw Wonder. I still remember the graphic novel. A Decision to Leave is Park Chan-wook, a naughty noir thriller. We probably won't get that right away. It's going to be slated. It looks like it's coming out of Mubi, which is interesting because that'll be direct to video. I'm sort of surprised. October 21st, Black Adam. It's Dwayne Johnson as the DC comic superhero. Okay. Ticket to Paradise. We're really getting into the big ones here. Julia Roberts and George Clooney, divorced parents who travel to Bali to mess up their daughter's wedding. You've probably seen a trailer. I haven't, because I don't generally see trailers because I curate my viewing. I don't really see a whole lot of commercials. Martin McDonagh is back with his In Bruges stars Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson in the Banshees of Inisherin. It's set in rural Ireland. It should be good. I just like that guy. My Policeman is another Harry Styles movie. He's a gay policeman in 1950s Brighton. Falls in love with a museum curator after he's married a school teacher. So, you can expect that to be good and soapy. Wendell and Wild, which is a Henry Selick stop motion animated thing. He's the guy that did The Nightmare Before Christmas and Coraline. You thought that Tim Burton did The Nightmare Before Christmas. I would have said so too, but I guess he didn't. And it was co-written with Jordan Peele. So, and Peele and Keegan-Michael Key. Oh, did I tell you the name? That's Wendell and Wild. They voice Wendell and Wild. Okay. Raymond and Ray, Ethan Hawke, and Ian McGregor play half-brothers reunited by their father's funeral. I like both those actors. I've really been on an Ethan Hawke jag lately. I'm really much in the bag for Ethan Hawke, so I'm going to watch that. After Sun is another A24. It's Charlotte Wells' Scottish filmmaker's directorial debut. It's a father and son on vacation in Turkey. I have no more information about that. All right. Let's see. The Good Nurse is Eddie Redmayne and Jessica Chastain, and that's on Netflix on October 19th. It's based on a true story about a serial killer nurse who is probably played by Jessica Chastain. I'm guessing. All right. October 28th. See, we're moving along here. Pray for the Devil. That's Prey. Yeah. Supernatural. Armageddon Time as opposed to Armageddon Time. This is James Gray. I like James Gray. It's semi-autobiographical, I understand. It draws from his upbringing in Queens in the 80s. Anthony Hopkins, Anne Hathaway, and Jeremy Strong of Succession. You can expect it to be a quality motion picture. It's James Gray. Call Jane. Phyllis Nagy, who wrote Carol, directs this one about a 60s housewife, played by Elizabeth Banks, which is just perfect casting, who joins Jane Collective, the underground women's legal group that helped obtain abortions until they were legalized, until Roe v. Wade. Interesting movie. Holy Spider, Ali Abbasi's based on a true story about an Iranian serial killer. Abbasi's work is always amazing. I'm really looking forward to that. So we're already into November. Enola Holmes 2. Millie Bobby Brown gets a sequel. That's, she plays Sherlock Holmes' younger sister. Okay. The Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths. This is Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu, and I love his work. And it's his first movie since The Revenant. And it's a Netflix film, so I don't know if it's getting a theatrical release first. I imagine it is. We'll see. that might be something. If it's at Toronto, I might check that one out. Oh, Weird, the Al Yankovic story, which is Roku. It's streaming, and it's going to be at Toronto, and it looks like it's fun. Daniel Radcliffe is Weird Al Yankovic in this comic biopic that was co-written by Weird Al himself. There's a documentary about the Mars rovers that's coming out on Amazon. Goodnight, Oppie. November 11th. Okay, that's when we have the Black Panther sequel, the Wakanda Forever. It carries on the story after the death of Chadwick Boseman. We'll see what happens. I haven't heard a whole lot about that, except that they're doing it. The Fablements, and this is a Steven Spielberg movie, and it's going to be a different one. It's a coming-of-age drama that's semi-autobiographical. It's about growing up in Arizona after World War II and discovering cinema. I'm really kind of look forward to that. I really think that might be a very good movie. The son is the Florian Zeller's follow-up to The Father. About a 17-year-old who moves in with his divorced dad. That's, if you remember The Father with Anthony Hopkins, I'm looking forward to that. That's a Sony Pictures classic, so I'm going to get to see that early. I'm looking forward to it. November 18th. She Said, Carey Mulligan, Zoe Kazan, New York Times journalist who helped expose Harvey Weinstein. Yes, we made a movie of that. Isn't that nice? The Inspection, another A24 film about a gay Marine who is hazed during boot camp. Sounds a lot like last year's Mafia, but I'm not going to. It's allegedly, or I shouldn't say allegedly. It's reportedly inspired by the director Elegance Bratton's own experience. So I'd say it sounds like Mafia. Maybe I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I don't know. Slumberland, which is another Netflix film, which I think is just going to be streaming. It's Jason Momoa is science fiction adapted from Little Nemo and Slumberland. All right. Searchlight film called The Menu. This is something I'm looking forward to. This is Anja Taylor-Joy and Nicholas Hoult, who've moved to a remote island to eat as an exclusive restaurant presided over by Rafe Fiennes, where more than food is on. This is like maybe not the only cannibal movie that's coming out. Maybe it's not a cannibal movie. I'm just saying that it sounds like a cannibal movie to me, and there might be another cannibal movie coming down the pike pretty soon, another prestigious cannibal movie. So we'll wait and see how this goes. In Her Hands is the Hillary and Chelsea Clinton executive produced documentary about Zarifa Galafa, who became one of Afghanistan's first female mayors, age of 26. It's going to be in theaters. I don't know. It's going to stream on Netflix. I don't know anything about it. Okay, November 23rd. This is industry. It's called Bones and All, and it's Luca Guadagnino, who is reuniting with Timothy Chalamet in a romantic horror road trip movie about two drifters who hook up in the 80s and travel all around the country. And I think it's a cannibal movie. Okay, so that makes two cannibal movies. All right, we need a good cannibal movie every now and then. I wonder if they use Timothy, the song. Devotion. Korean War movie. Ooh, okay, could be good. Noah Baumbach comes back, and this is another one he's done for Netflix, which is White Noise, the Don DeLillo novel with Adam Driver and Greta Gerwig. I'm really interested in this because having read White Noise, having read all of DeLillo as far as I know, there's probably some I haven't found. I'm really intrigued to see how this translates to the screen and how Baumbach works with this sort of material. It just intrigues me. Okay. And then we have Strange World, which is a Walt Disney animation, ode to science fiction about a family of space explorers. It could be Toy Story good. It could be really sappy. I don't know. Who knows at this point? Amazon has a film called Nanny. And this is Anna Diop, who's a recently immigrated Senegalese woman who, while caring for the daughter of a wealthy New York couple, is haunted, not hunted. Haunted. See, I thought it was another cannibal movie. Haunted by the son she left in Africa. Okay, that takes us up to December, which I guess gets us into Christmas and in the holiday season and stuff like that. But there's 5 or 6 things I'm really looking forward to here, and there's probably a bunch of the stuff is going to surprise us one way or another. So we're back. We've got $3 movies. We got a lot coming out in the next couple of months. I hope I'm going to Toronto next week. If not, I should know by the time. By the next week at this time, I should know I should either be on my way or not.